Hello, hello. Welcome to the final day of the Back to Grad School Challenge. If you have not been following along, this is a challenge that I host every single semester for grad students to help them start their semester on the right foot. Usually, this challenge happens in my private Facebook group, but this year I decided to do the challenge on YouTube to connect with more of you so that there wasn't like a Facebook barrier to entry. And so each day this week, I've walked you through a prompt to help you start the semester strong. And today we're going to put all the pieces together and create a productive weekly schedule that you can follow every single week. So today's prompt is my favorite. It's me time. I'm all about the me time. And so I saw in the community tab on my YouTube channel, you can also share what you want to do for your me time this semester. And so Carla has already commented and said, this semester I will make time to do weekly to do Pilates, spend time with my nephews, and cook new recipes. And monthly, I will binge watch TV, travel, and craft. Love that. Yes. Okay. Scott says, little by little and excruciatingly small baby steps, I apply the things I learned from you and others to improve my education and life. That is so great. The smaller steps are better than no steps at all. So glad to have you joining us today, Scott. Okay. I'm just going to jump right in. This video will always be available on my YouTube channel, so you can always come back to it if you can't stay the whole time. But also, I want to mention that Focus right now, my accountability and productivity program, is 35% off until the end of today. So after today, it's regular price. But let's just jump right in. So I want to talk about the procrastination burnout cycle that we often get into, especially in grad school, in academia. And when you find yourself in this cycle of procrastinating and burning out over and over and over again, I'm going to share in today's masterclass how you can motivate yourself to actually get back to work without burning out. So let's get into it. All right. So I want to start by saying congratulations. You have completed the Back to Grad School Challenge. And thank you for participating with me all week long. And if you miss anything, you're welcome to go back and work through the prompts. They're all in the community tab on my YouTube channel. All right. So if you haven't met me, I'm Dr. Toyin Ali. I have a PhD in math. I'm the creator of a program called the Grad School Prep Course. And I'm the creator of the accountability and productivity program for grad students called Focus. And throughout this whole week, I have been your guide through the Back to Grad School Challenge. Okay, so if you're like most of the grad students that I work with, who come up with a plan for grad school, you're often like very excited. Like at the beginning of the semester, there's this excited energy that tends to happen. You're excited about the journey ahead, excited about all you'll learn, and excited about moving forward in your career, in your schooling, and things like that. But also, you're probably a little bit nervous, right? You've created all these big plans, but you may be a little worried that you won't be able to maintain the goals and plans that you've set for yourself this week or previously once the semester starts. So I'm curious, let me know in the chat or in the comments if you watch this later. So are you a little bit concerned about the following, that once you get started getting assignments in your classes, or once you start teaching your classes and then get into your research, are you concerned that you may not be able to manage it all, or that you'll get super overwhelmed, or maybe even worse, that you'll lose motivation to even want to do it, or that you'll procrastinate? Perhaps you're worried that you will look like a fraud or an imposter compared to the rest of your grad school cohort. And I want to say that is completely normal. Everyone feels imposter syndrome in grad school and even after grad school. Totally normal. But just because imposter syndrome is normal, that doesn't mean that we should let us hold it back. So I wanted to tell you, you are different than the rest of the grad students in your program. You have done something that the rest of your fellow grad students have not done. You have completed the Back to Grad School Challenge. And that is something that not even everyone who signed up for the challenge did. So if you made it through all 5 days, done all 5 prompts, you are ahead. And I'm so proud of you for accomplishing this bit of the journey. So the fact that you made it here means that you are a motivated grad student who wants to succeed in grad school, and you are committed to being intentional and taking control of your grad school experience and not just letting grad school happen to you. That's something I see a lot for in grad students, especially if you're the first person in your family to go to grad school or the first one of your friends to go to grad school. You tend to just let grad school happen to you, just taking on whatever the department says you're supposed to do, following the path that has been laid ahead of you without even considering, well, does this make sense for me and the career that I actually want? So, what's next? So, what do you do after you've done the Back to Grad School challenge and gone through all of the prompts? Like, how do you actually keep this momentum going throughout the rest of your semester and your whole grad school experience? That's exactly what we're going to talk about doing today. So, how do you follow through on your plans to achieve the goals that you set for yourself without procrastinating? And without burning out? Like, how can you not procrastinate and not burn out? I know it sounds like a myth. It's like it's magic, but you can actually do that. So, from this point on, I want to share that there is a 3-step framework that you must implement if you want to keep yourself motivated to get your work done throughout the semester and not get stuck in that procrastination burnout cycle. All right, so I will be sharing the focus framework with you, and it's a 3-step framework that will keep you making progress on the goals you've set this week without procrastinating and without burning out. Okay, so as a reminder, here are the things that we did in the Back to Grad School Challenge. On day 1, we set goals. We chose our top 2 priorities for the semester. On day 2, we then broke those down into actionable steps, meaning what are the things you're going to be doing week to week and day to day to make progress on those goals. Then we brought in time management and we considered how long are we prepared to spend on each of these goals to make progress. Then we brought everything else in to diversify our time and talk about, okay, well, how much time should I be spending on my top 2 priorities versus all of my other responsibilities of grad school? And then finally, today, you found some me time. So choosing intentional activities that help you feel more like a person, that help you feel more like yourself, that you can regularly do during the semester. And that's part of that like self-care, right? So the more you take care of yourself, the better you will be able to commit to all of your responsibilities in grad school. Okay, so there was one person in my Facebook group last semester who participated in the Back to Grad School challenge, and I loved all of her answers. She really committed every single day, and I actually shared many of her examples when I went live each day. But if you are unsure if how your goals or what you did this week, how it stacks up, what it should look like, I think this is a great example to follow. Your example doesn't have to be exactly like this one, but this was one that I really liked. So Min, who is actually a student in my focus program, this is what she did during the Back to Grad School challenge. So day 1 was goal setting, and she said, my top 2 goals for this semester are, number 1, my thesis proposal, to submit it and successfully defend it to my panel, and number 2, to start the administrative work for my data gathering activities. All right, so this is a little difficult to read, but I'll just kind of read a little bit of it. So day 2 is breaking down the goals into actionable steps. And so I actually read through goal number 1 during the live challenge. So I'll read through her goal number 2 was administrative work for data gathering activities. So number 1, gather contact details and names of respondents that I need. Number 2, prepare a list of administrative data to request based on my chapter 3. Number 3, write the necessary letters of introduction for the government office. Number 4, meet with a point person who will be in charge of my request so that I can easily follow up. Number 5, encode my questionnaire in Google Forms for easier dissemination to respondents, collection and retrieval of responses. Likewise, prepare printed copies of the questionnaire for respondents in areas where internet connection and electricity are not stable. So, one thing that I really love about Min's example is that it's so clear exactly what steps she needs to take. She actually didn't leave anything out. There's exactly what she needs to do. There's nothing in between step 1 and step 2 that she's missing. And that way, throughout the semester, she doesn't have to waste brain power thinking, okay, well, what should I be doing next? She has already decided what she should be doing next when she was in this low stress state before the semester really got going. All right, day 3 was time management. So I love how she broke things down. I'm going to go to her goal number 2. For goal number 2, I'll do it in 1 to 2 hours in the afternoon on weekdays. I'll block 1 to 3 p.m. for it, especially for days when I have to visit a government office. Action points 1 through 3 of goal 2 to coincide with the timeline of goal 1. And then so on. So what I really love here is implementing time and really breaking down, okay, well, how long do I want to spend on these tasks? How long is necessary? And so we talked about during the live challenge how these times that we come up with at the beginning of the semester, they're just a guess. They're not even an educated guess. We're just kind of giving ourselves a goal. It would be nice to be able to do all of this in this amount of time. And so what will happen is at the end of the first week, you'll reflect and evaluate. Did it make sense to give myself this amount of time to do this activity? Did you find that actually you needed an extra hour or you were able to get it done in 30 minutes? The key here is reflecting back on your week so that it helps you plan even better and even more realistically every single week. So you're just constantly updating and refining your schedule so that it is realistic and matches the way that you work. All right, diversify your time. So I love this. I was mentioning this the other day. So to figure out how much time she should be spending on work and school and all of these things, Min actually created a spreadsheet and broke down how much time she wanted to spend on things like how much sleep she wanted to get each week, how much time to work on grad school stuff, household chores, and things like that. And from there, she was able to figure out, well, okay, on a weekly basis, I can spend 14.9% of my time on my top 2 goals and 85.1% of my time on my other responsibilities. And she said when she did her audit, her time audit, sleep came in first with 33%. And she said, I will not compromise my 8 hours of beauty rest. And that is part of not burning out in the middle of the semester, is actually getting enough sleep so that you can think and you can produce quality work once you wake up. Sleep is productive. All right. And then finally, yeah, very impressive. Finally, day 5 was me time. So choosing the activities that you want to make sure you include and not forget about as a grad student. I remember when I was in grad school, I was at an interview for something and someone asked me, so like, what are your hobbies? What do you do for fun? And I was like, oh my goodness, I don't have any hobbies. I'm just a grad student. And so that's a great reminder that you are a person as well as a graduate student, and you do need time for yourself. You need to refresh, you need to reset, and you need to come back to who you are every now and then. It can't just be work, work, work nonstop. So Min says, my weekends are the biggest chunk of my me time. As much as possible, I take myself out on either a Saturday or Sunday for a generous walk in the park near where I live. I also carve out time for my creative pursuits of free writing, just writing about any topic and joining virtual sessions called field trips from a platform called Creative Mornings. On weekdays, I cap my day with a reward of an episode or 2 of an anime series or a chapter or 2 of a book unrelated to my academic pursuits. Can we normalize reading not for schoolwork, reading for fun? I also incorporate daily meditation and yoga to help me open and close my day. Since I audited my time yesterday, thanks for yesterday's prompt, I spend 14.1% or 23.7 hours per week on me time, which I think is awesome. And so maybe you can find some things in Min's list that you can relate to that's like, oh, I would like to do that for myself week to week. Okay, so after going through all 5 prompts from each day, I promise you can create a productive weekly schedule. So, how do you turn all of that into a productive weekly schedule? Well, the Back to Grad School Challenge only set the foundation, but we do now have the foundation set. Okay, so here are the steps. All right. Okay, yes. Reading for fun is great. Definitely need to implement this more. Absolutely. So there are literally only 3 steps. So you'll notice 3 is a trend in today's masterclass. There are only 3 steps to building a productive weekly schedule. Don't worry, we will go over these step by step in detail. Step 1 is to create a weekly schedule with fixed tasks. Step 2 is to add in me time and exercise. And then step 3 is to create what I call productivity chunks. All right, so the first step in creating a productive weekly schedule that you can follow every single week is to put in your fixed tasks first. So you can use an Excel spreadsheet, you can write this on paper, you can write it in a journal, on a Google Doc. It doesn't matter what it looks like, but you want to go ahead and put in everything that is going to happen regularly. So if you have something that happens on a weekly basis, like every week, you're going to this place at this exact time to do this thing week to week and nothing changes week to week, then you want to put those in your schedule first because those are the big blocks that can't be moved. And I know occasionally you'll have like a seminar or something that happens every other week or maybe once a month. If it is regular, I would go ahead and put it in your schedule. And something you can do is make a plan for the off days. So if you have a seminar every other Wednesday, I would put seminar on Wednesday and I would split that block in half. On the other Wednesdays where I don't have seminars, maybe I'm reading, something like that. That way you actually have something in your schedule. All right, so that's step 1. Step 2 is to add in me time, which may seem counterintuitive. It may seem like you should add in your productivity time first, but I like to put in my me time first because whenever things get busy and overwhelming, the me time tends to be the first thing to go. But the me time is the thing that keeps us healthy, the thing that keeps us from burning out. So by putting your me time in your schedule first, you actually guarantee that you have enough time to get your work done because you're going to schedule around the me time. And that way your me time is fixed and then you fill in the rest of your time with your work. All right, so that's step 2, adding your me time. So for me, that's church, that's going to group exercise classes, that's taking dance classes. I used to have a night where me and my math department friends would watch Star Trek Discovery together on Tuesday nights. So that was in my schedule. That was my me time. And then finally, step 3 is to create productivity chunks. Now, what are productivity chunks? These are 2 to 5 hour blocks of time where your goal is to be productive. Literally, productivity is the only goal here, whether it's working on schoolwork or working on finances or whatever. This is the time that you will spend to be productive. So this is where you implement your goals. So when on day 2, when we broke down those actionable steps, this is where we do those actionable steps in the productivity chunks. Now note that I'm not scheduling everything by name, right? Because that makes it too rigid. And this tends to lead to disappointment and failure. So what tends to happen a lot, at least in my department, is I plan to work on something maybe from like 3 to 5. And then I find out at 3:30 we have a faculty meeting and I just learned about it the day before. It's like, oh my goodness, I threw off my schedule. And so by not having my schedule super rigid and planning out hour by hour, as long as I'm productive during that time, I have fulfilled what the conditions of my productivity chunk. So if I go to that meeting and it's a productive meeting, instead of doing whatever work I wanted to do, that is still being productive. So this way we can leave room for spontaneity. Your schedule is a bit more flexible because you're not naming everything by name and you're not breaking down your schedule into hour increments. It's a little better on the brain. All right, so you may be wondering, well, if you're not scheduling everything by name, hour by hour, how do you know what you are doing? Well, a tool that I found to be truly helpful for me is Trello. So, Trello is like an online organization management tool. And so, what I like to do is I like to keep track of all of my tasks in Trello. So, on the left, I don't know if you can see it very well, but it says weekly tasks. So, I actually think at the beginning of the semester, what are all the things I want to be working on and doing throughout the whole semester? And I write them in the weekly tasks section. And then each week, I have a mini planning session for myself, and I'll drag each of these activities across to the day that I want to work on it. And that is what I work on during my productivity chunks. All right, so good news, you can copy all of my boards. So I put together a set of Trello boards that you can just literally copy and paste into your own account so you don't have to start from scratch. I call it my grad school toolkit, and it helps you organize and systemize your grad school life. And so that is, it's free, so you can just download it. So if you have your phone available, you can use the QR code to get access. If not, I'll put a link in the chat. Hold on, let me get the link. So you can copy all of my Trello boards. I even have like a little training on how to use Trello. So if you've never used it before, you can, it's just like 30 minutes. It's very quick. It won't take a lot of time. All right. So the nice thing about all my Trello templates is that everything's done for you and completely customizable. So you can make it work for you, but start with like the foundation. Okay, so I want to share a little bit about Laura. Laura, at the time she said this, she was a master's student of sociology. She is in my Focus program. She since has applied to and got accepted to a PhD program. But here's what Laura said. Toyin taught me so much about managing my time to be more productive. I've learned how to prioritize my to-do lists based on my larger goals for the semester and how to work in productivity chunks. Before this program, I often worked at the last minute and was extremely overwhelmed by my workload. Toyin's guidance has made things so much more manageable, and I'm definitely much more consistently productive with way less stress. This has been especially helpful with all of the online learning happening this year. Thanks so much. So this was back in 2020. And one thing about Laura, let me tell you, she is a single mom of 2 children, and she was able to say that she is consistently productive with way less stress. And that is a win to me. Okay, so let's talk about the first month of grad school, whether it's your first month of grad school ever or just the first month of grad school for this semester. Often we go in because we're like so excited. We're finally able to focus on the subject that you're actually interested in. You're taking classes you're excited about. You're working on the research you're excited about. And you really want to make a good impression on your professor, your advisor, and your fellow grad students. So you happily work on all of your assignments, no matter how long they take. I know when I first started grad school, I used to come home, sit on the floor, and just do all my homework right after classes. I was so like on top of things for the first month. But then after that first month, then we started to get a bit tired, and the big 3, what I like to call the big 3, starts to happen. So failure, imposter syndrome, and overwhelm. So you go in all gung-ho in that first month of the semester, and then you realize, oh, you get some grades back and you're like, oh, this grade is not what I expected to have, right? So maybe you find out you don't understand what your professors are looking for, and what you're turning in doesn't quite align with what the professors are looking for. And so that means you don't do as well as you expected on your assignments. And maybe you even fail an assignment or 2. That is totally normal. Everyone fails in grad school. It is a normal thing to do. It is a new experience, so it is okay. You're there to learn. So what happens is after that failure, then you start to feel like, oh no, I'm the only one who's really struggling. Like everybody else maybe has a stronger background and it kind of feels like they all have it figured out. That's that imposter syndrome starting to set in. And so after having the failure and then start feeling like an imposter, then you start to get overwhelmed. You feel like, oh my goodness, I'm constantly working on assignments. I'm constantly reading, constantly writing. I'm always feeling like I'm on the edge of a deadline. And so that means you have to pull all-nighters and work nonstop until you burn out. And that's exactly what we want to avoid. So here's what happens. We tend to get into this, what I call procrastination burnout cycle. So, because of the previous quote unquote failures, the imposter syndrome, and the overwhelm, all right, so the big three, because of those, you start to feel a bit unmotivated. Like, I don't know, I haven't been doing well. Is it even worth it to start on this assignment ahead of time? Because I probably won't make the grade that I want. So, you start to feel unmotivated to start the next assignment. So, you procrastinate because maybe you tell yourself you do your best work under pressure anyway. And so you don't start working on your assignment until the last minute. But that means if you wait till the last minute to get your work done, that means that you have to do a lot of work all at once. And so doing a lot of work all at once, maybe in one night or 2 nights straight, of course you're going to burn out. And when you do burn out, it takes time to recover, to get that rest back. But that means that when you get your next assignment, you remember, oh my gosh, I burnt out last time I did that assignment. And so you want to avoid it. And so then you procrastinate and then you wait till the last minute and then you work all night and then you burn out and then you remember you burned out. And so you procrastinate and then you wait till the last minute. And so you get into this procrastination burnout cycle that happens, and it's so hard to get out. Oh, by the way, I forgot to share this. Scott says, I'm not an amateur. My family will tell you I put the pro in procrastinate. My preferred method is to use my project management background to procrastinate. That's funny. Okay. So, question for the audience. Have you ever struggled with procrastination? Scott has already said yes. And if you have, is it a weekly battle? Do you find that you're procrastinating every single week? So something I think that will help with the procrastination is just call it out. Call it for what it is. Procrastination is a form of self-sabotage. And self-sabotage is kind of what we do when we step outside of our comfort zone, which that's what grad school is, outside of our comfort zone altogether. So we naturally try to keep ourselves safe inside of our comfort zone. So procrastination kind of keeps us from stepping out. And so it is a form of procrastination. No, being sarcastic. So funny. Okay. So let's call it out. Procrastination is a form of self-sabotage. And so let's talk about what procrastination can look like. It can take many forms, especially in grad school, but here are some areas that I've noticed that is pretty common areas to procrastinate. So maybe you have a paper that's due tomorrow and you think, you know what? I do better work when my house is clean. It is the perfect time to clean up my apartment right now instead of actually sitting down to write the paper. Or final exam start next week. This was me. Sounds like the perfect weekend to get sucked into binge watching a new show. I mean, there's no classes or anything during exam week, so I can watch a new TV show. But of course, every episode ends on a cliffhanger, so I have to watch the next episode. And then the weekend has gone by and I haven't prepared for my final exams. Or maybe it looks like this. You need to update your advisor on your research progress, but maybe there has not been much progress. So instead of updating your advisor, you're like, you know what? Let me get organized. Let me organize all of my articles into nice, neat folders on my desktop or in my Google Drive. Or even this one, if the working conditions aren't perfect. Oh, it's too loud here, or my desk is cluttered, or whatever. It's too hot in this room. And you'll say, there's no way I can be productive right now. So I'll work at another unspecified time. Keyword unspecified. You need to specify that time so you actually do it. But procrastination is definitely something that happens in grad school for many reasons. Yeah, shiny object syndrome as well. Squirrel. Okay. So have you noticed this, though? So you procrastinate But did you notice that once you stop procrastinating and finally complete your assignment or do that task that you've been avoiding, you often find that, oh, actually, this wasn't as big or as bad as I made it out to be in my head. It literally took me 30 minutes to do this. I should have done this 5 days ago. That happens to me a lot. My mom always had this saying when I was younger. She would say, if there's something you must do, do it now. If you wish the job were through, do it now. If there's something you must do, do not hem or how or pout, do it now. And so I always remember that. If it's something to do, I should just get it over with, right? Okay, so here is a big myth. Often we think that, oh, I'm procrastinating. I need to get better at time management. Time management is the answer to fix procrastination. And you would think I would say that as well because I am the time management girl. I love time management and I'm great at time management. But time management is not actually the answer to procrastination. So I really like this quote from Dr. Alex Abdel Malik. Procrastination manifests itself in how we manage time, but it's not primarily about how we manage time. All right. So it looks like we're not managing our time well, but that's not really what it's about. That's just how it manifests itself. It looks like that. So I will say it's not all doom and gloom. There is hope. The good news is that procrastination is an avoidance strategy caused by a number of factors. All right. So the good news is it's a strategy because what is the solution? All you have to do is just apply a new strategy. Oh, yeah. I am also the queen of done versus perfect. Just get it done. Fix it later if you got time. All right. So let's talk about applying a new strategy instead of using procrastination. So to get into that, we should understand why we procrastinate. So I've identified 5 reasons that we tend to procrastinate in grad school, and I'll go over each one in detail, but I'll just read through them now. So one is task aversion, lack of confidence, fear of failure, perfectionism, and advisor-professor relationships. All right, so these are 5 reasons why we might procrastinate in grad school. Let's dig into each one of them. The first one is task aversion. So when you avoid doing something because you don't think it's important, or maybe you think it's a waste of time, right, then you might avoid the task, right? And that looks like procrastination. So here's a problem scenario. So maybe it's a task at work that you don't see the bigger purpose for. Like maybe you're asked to do something, you're like, my goal is to get a career in this other field. Why do I have to do this thing? Or maybe you don't understand the application of the assignment for your future career, right? So whatever it is, either way, without a strong motivation to complete the task, you end up avoiding it altogether. All right, so my recommendation is if you are procrastinating because you're avoiding a task, one way that I combat task aversion is to give myself a very small window to get it done. So, one of the tasks that I end up avoiding is writing letters of recommendation. Now, I love writing recommendations for my students, especially like the best ones I have in my class. I love to brag on them and things like that. But it's so hard to fit that into my schedule. Everything else just always tends to take priority, like prepping for class or grading or working on my business. And it's really hard for me to get around to writing those letters of recommendation. So, what I do instead is if I have a meeting coming up, I will plan to write the letter of recommendation before the meeting. So let's say I have a meeting at 10 a.m. I'll probably start writing the letter of recommendation around 9:15. That way I know I have to end by like 9:50. So I give myself a small window, and somehow just having that small amount of time to do it motivates me to actually get it done and not distract myself while I'm doing it. All right, so another reason why we may procrastinate is lack of confidence, right? So this can be related to imposter syndrome because sometimes we procrastinate because we doubt our ability to complete something. So we don't have that confidence in ourselves. So instead of trying, we just avoid the thing altogether. So here's the problem. In grad school, we are challenged to do things that we don't always feel capable of doing on our own. And instead of reaching out for help, we just struggle to get started. All right. So, like I mentioned, grad school pushes you outside of your comfort zone the whole way through. And so, when you don't feel confident to get your work done or to do what you're asked to do, you may want to procrastinate and avoid it. So, my recommendation is this. So, something that helps me is to talk through why something is confusing to me. I like to call my friend and just ask her to listen to me talk about my problem. And somehow, through just verbalizing what I'm confused about, I'm able to kind of put some things together and come up with a great first step for myself. And so I would say the pro tip here is you can ask your friend to listen to you talk, but the pro tip is to ask someone who's done the thing you're doing before, like a fellow grad student or your advisor or your professor. Go to office hours. Definitely ask for help. You are a grad student, keyword student. You are there to learn. You should not know everything already, or else you already have the degree. All right. Another reason we procrastinate is fear of failure. All right. So, fear of failure is the intense worry that you experience when you imagine all the horrible things that could happen if you fail to achieve a goal. So, here the problem is that if you're afraid of the consequences of failing, then of course the logical next step is just avoid doing the thing that will lead to said failure. Right? If I never do it, I never fail. But in grad school, it doesn't work like that. You actually have to do the thing to get your degree, right? So, I have a couple of recommendations when you are experiencing fear of failure. Number one, you can analyze all potential outcomes. Like, okay, well, what if I did fail? What would happen? Or what if I did not fail? What if I was mediocre? Also, try to think more positively. Like, what if I actually do know what I'm doing and I do a great job and my way of thinking is actually necessary to get this assignment done? You can also look at the worst case scenario. I remember when I was studying for my qualifying exams. So you have to pass your qualifying exams in math to be a PhD candidate. Otherwise, if you don't pass them after 2 tries, then you can leave with your master's, but you can't get your PhD. You would have to go to a different school. And so I was kind of thinking of the worst case scenario. I was like, all right, I was feeling nervous about it. I was like, well, what if I don't pass my qualifying exam? I can get a master's and I can teach at a community college. I can still do the thing that I want to do. It actually isn't so bad, right? Also, have a backup plan if that helps you. And most importantly, don't give up. All right, here's another reason why we may procrastinate: perfectionism. I personally don't struggle with perfectionism. As I mentioned, done is better than perfect in all things for me. But many of you got to grad school because you are perfectionists. So, perfectionism is the refusal to accept any standard short of perfection. And so, here's where the problem lies: perfectionists will put off attempting a task until they're sure that they can meet their own very high expectations. The problem is that, unfortunately, in grad school, they don't always have that much time to get it perfect. And sometimes it's impossible to meet their overly high expectations for themselves. My recommendation: you just have to force yourself to take action. Even if it's small, take some type of action. I like to reverse engineer my goals, right? So let's say the thing that you're avoiding is maybe it's like a literature review or something. You've never written one before. And so you're nervous that you're not going to do a great job on your literature review. Well, instead of avoiding it until you know you're going to do it perfectly, what's the first step? Maybe read some other literature reviews. Take some notes on how they were done in your field. Choose your articles that you want to use in the literature review. Summarize those articles. Pick out, so just choosing smaller steps that will help you take action. Oh, that's good. It's not just good, it's good enough. Exactly. And often you really don't have to be perfect in grad school. It's mostly about just getting through the process, not being perfect. All right. And then finally, this is the most challenging one, is sometimes we avoid things because of an uncomfortable relationship with the advisor or professor, right? So this may cause you to avoid your advisor or professor, which makes you procrastinate on the work that you need to do. So, an uneasy relationship between you and your advisor or you and a professor that maybe you don't really like, This may cause you to avoid completing your work, especially if making progress on your tasks requires you to interact with them, right? And you don't want to interact with them. So, my recommendation is if you're feeling this way, it may be worth it to take some time to journal out why you're feeling uneasy about this relationship. Is there a way that you can navigate your interactions so that you can avoid any major triggers? Right. So, by uneasy relationship, I mean maybe the professor teaches in a style that is not easy for you to learn from. I don't mean this person is verbally or mentally abusive to you. So if there is someone who is obviously toxic, definitely talk to an advisor or someone else in the department about it, and maybe talk to a counselor about it to see what your next steps are. What I mean by uneasy is maybe you just don't really like that person or you don't like the way they speak. All right. So my recommendation, see if you can avoid any triggers, like major triggers. Okay. So let's talk about getting your work done in grad school. So once you get over the procrastination, how do you actually get things done? Well, I say there's another three-step process for getting your work done. That is prioritization, structure, and accountability. So let's walk through each one of them. Prioritization is just recognizing which goals and tasks are more important, and also determining how long to spend working on each task. This is something we practiced already this week in the Back to Grad School Challenge. The next thing is structure. So, being able to create routines and workflows that optimize how you work with your goals. And then accountability is so important. I always say that accountability is that bridge that gets you from your goals that you set to actually following through on them. So, following through on your goals by setting up accountability measures to make sure that you get your work done. So, let's talk about prioritization. What does that look like? Goal setting. So, I recommend choosing two main goals for your first or any really semester of grad school. So, we talked about two main goals this week in the Back to Grad School Challenge. And when you are writing your to do list, keep them short, right? I think there's a stat that the more things that are on your to-do list, the less likely you are to do any of them, right? So if you know realistically you only have time for 3 tasks, don't put 10 tasks on your main to-do list. That'll make you want to avoid them and procrastinate. Also, don't just write the list, prioritize the list. So if you do have 10 things on your list, just choose 3 of the things, right? And those are things you're going to work on first. Also include times, like how long do you expect to work on them, and break down those tasks into subtasks as well. Oh, Scott says, I'm frustrated because I want to build an accountability mastermind, but locally there's nobody. Well, Scott, luckily you're in focus. You can participate in our co-working sessions and the weekly accountability. Let me know if you don't still have your access to it. I can reshare it with you. So let's talk about structure, how to get organized, really. So I strongly encourage creating a weekly schedule that includes your me time, your hobbies, your work time, and your classes, one like we talked about building today. And I strongly encourage using productivity chunks. Instead of labeling hour by hour what you're going to do every day, just do productivity chunks. These are those 2 to 5 hour chunks of your time that you can dedicate to productivity. And then finally, we got accountability. So an accountability partner, I strongly recommend that every student gets an accountability partner. And so accountability partner is a member of your cohort or a grad student who's in a similar stage as you, like first year grad student or fourth year grad student. You can be an accountability partner with someone who's on a similar stage as you. I really enjoy doing co-working sessions. There's something about sitting with someone next to you, whether it's in person or virtual, that helps me stay on task, especially if both of you have the goal of being productive. I know when I was in grad school, I would go to the library on Sundays to get work done. And when I went by myself, I would stay for maybe an hour, maybe an hour and a half, and I'd be like, all right, that's enough for today. But when I would go with my friend, we would be there for 3 to 4 hours, and I would get so much productive work done. There's just something about someone sitting beside you that keeps you focused and like makes you want to keep going. I also use the Pomodoro technique. So working for a certain amount of time, then taking a rest. Working for a certain amount of time and taking a rest. This helps to keep me from being distracted, and it keeps me from getting too tired from working super long intervals of time. Oh yeah. Glad you love the productivity chunks. Scott says, I use the must, should, could method of prioritizing tasks. I haven't heard that. I later discovered, didn't invent it, called the Moscow method. It includes wish for next time. Oh, that's really fun. I like that a lot. Okay, so what do you do now? So how do you mentally prepare for this semester of grad school? Start planning now. So if you haven't started, I think most of you have at this point, but read through the syllabi. Start a healthy sleep schedule. Learn about your new city if you're moving. Determine your priorities and non-negotiables, right? Figure out how often you want to do these things before your life gets too hectic. Read ahead. Start reading assigned articles and books. Read your advisor's publications. Like that, I think your advisor would be very pleased to know that you read their publications before your meetings with them. Also, understand that grad school is temporary. Grad school is not forever. So I find that a lot of grad students are worried about their relationships, like relationships with their friends. Even if you find that you don't have as much time to spend with your friends or talk to like your forever friends, you will rebuild those relationships, right? So me and my friends from high school, we all went to grad school around the same time, and we kind of didn't really talk when we were in grad school. But once we were done with school, we were able to pick up where we left off, like no time has passed. And you will make time for the people who are truly important with you. But I just wanted to remind you that grad school is temporary, it's not forever, and it's really important to connect with why you're doing this because it will help you stay motivated. Okay, so I want to share a few numbers with you that I found interesting. So the average person has more than 40 hours of work on their to-do list. So just the to-do list that they wrote for the day, more than 40 hours of work on there. 41% of things on to-do lists never get done. Interesting, which is why I recommend short to-do lists. And then the average person makes 35,000 decisions every day. And so what do I mean by decisions? When you wake up, you make a decision to open your eyes. You make a decision to either lay there or get out of bed. You make a decision to pick up your phone and scroll or get up. You make a decision to pick up your toothbrush. You make a decision to put on the toothpaste. You make a decision to brush your teeth. You make a decision how long you want to brush your teeth. So we're making so many decisions every single day, and we haven't even gotten to grad school. And I wanted to point out that you are actually not the average person. So as an academic, we have extra decisions to make, right? That most people aren't really making. So the need to prioritize is so much greater for us. So I believe that prioritization, structure, and accountability, these are the keys to transition from being super overworked and overwhelmed to clarity and focus. So focus is where you want to be, right? So I want to point out that our brains are present focused and not future focused. This is why our New Year's resolutions don't typically work. Like when you say things like, I want to lose 10 pounds by March, you probably won't do that because what are you actually planning to do to lose it? Versus saying, I want to do one workout each day. You are more likely to achieve that goal of losing 10 pounds by choosing a more present focus goal. So what are you doing day to day? All right. So here is Mary. So Mary was actually the very first student inside of my focus program. I'm so grateful to Mary for trusting me, being the first person. So we can reprogram our brains to show up and operate differently, like Mary. So Mary said, there are so many moving pieces in grad school, and I was trying to take every opportunity presented to me, becoming overwhelmed with research, work, and my academics. I got into this cycle of burning out regularly. The resources Toyin created for the Academic Society helped me to figure out what I need to be prioritizing according to my main responsibilities and my values. Toyin's planner helped me create a solid structure each week where I could put in self-care and me time to prevent and stop the cycle of burnout. So the one thing I wanted to highlight here is the prioritizing according to my main responsibilities and my values. That's why it's so important to set your goals and priorities early on, because that is what is going to determine what you spend your time on throughout the semester. So, I have a question for you. How many projects or goals do you have on your plate this semester? So when you think about all the things on your plate this semester, how many big projects or goals do you have on your plate? Second question, not a trick question. How many cars can you drive at one time? Spoiler, the answer is one. So I have a little visualization exercise for us. So we have 5 cars here. So imagine that each car takes you to a different destination. So for example, let's say the pink car takes us to Hawaii. Pretend that we can travel over water. The pink car takes us to Hawaii. The yellow little buggy thing takes us to California. The truck takes us to Japan. The green car takes us to Australia, and the yellow Hummer takes us to Germany, for example. So each car takes you to a different destination, but only one car takes you to the place you really want to go. So for example, let's say we really want to go to Hawaii. I need to be taking the pink car that goes to Hawaii, not the car that goes to Germany, right? So that's the car you want to drive, the one that takes you to the destination you want to go. The other cars aren't as important. Yes, the other cars will take you to a new destination, but you don't really care about the other destinations as much as the one you really want to go to. So now what I want you to do is think about the cars as projects and projects that help you reach your goals. So the pink car is project 1, project 2. So think of these as the projects that are on your plate for this semester. What we want to do is figure out which projects are the most important and most aligned with our goals. These are the projects that will become our priorities. These are the ones that you want to spend the most time on. All right. The goal is to have more focused and effective work sessions by working on the right things. So something I like to do is a weekly check-in. So you can always check in with yourself to make sure that you are still on the right track and following your goals and actually making progress towards your goals. All right. So one thing that can help you with this check-in is following these prompts, right? My top 3 priorities for the week are this. I want to do less of the thing that's not effective, and I want to do more of the thing that is effective. This week, I want to feel. How do you want to feel? Do you want to feel relaxed? Do you want to feel productive? Do you want to feel energetic? How do you want to feel? To feel this, so what are the action steps that you need to take to match that energy? And if I get stuck, I'll remember. So it's great to have these affirmations or motivational statements. And then you can do this every single week. And so if you notice, there's some clear themes to these prompts, right? Prioritization, very important. Then structure. How are you going to schedule out your week and your days? And then accountability. How do you keep yourself accountable for making progress for your goals? So those are those top 3 things that we need. And that is the focus framework, right? So prioritization is recognizing, which goals and tasks are most important and determining how long to spend on each task. Structure, creating routines and workflows that optimize how you work with your goals. And then we got accountability, following through on your goals by setting up accountability measures to make sure that you get your work done. And so that is exactly what we do inside of my accountability and productivity program called Focus. And it is for graduate students. So in the Focus program, you get detailed training that teaches you how to focus so that you can stop wasting time on hashtag all the things and get time back by working on the right things. And you also get my step-by-step project management for academics framework to guide you through setting realistic goals and prioritizing tasks that align with your goals and values. And so we actually do this every month during a live planning session. You also get to steal my complete process for planning and implementing your most productive week ever. And then, of course, the accountability is there. So you'll stay motivated to get your work done with ultimate accountability through, we have a private Discord server as well as a 24/7 co-working space, because there's a better way to succeed in grad school without losing who you are. You deserve better than that. All right. Hi, Tanil. Tanil says, I want to be productive all week. I'm fine through that. By the time I get to Wednesday, I find that by the time I get to Wednesday night or Thursday morning, I get really tired and nearly sluggish throughout the week, rest of the week. Help. I feel like I intentionally plan to do less and less throughout the week. My boyfriend, he always talks about like my Mondays. Actually, my Sundays and my Mondays, everybody sleep. I'm moving. My most productive days are Sunday and Monday, and I just get ahead of my week. And that way, by getting so much done earlier on in the week, I can like take my foot off the gas throughout the rest of the week. That personally works for me. So I think taking some time to plan the week ahead and thinking about, okay, well, what things am I planning to do this week? What things do I need more energy for? And what things do I need less energy for? And maybe you can plan the things that you need more energy for earlier on during the week, or during the time of day that you're most productive. So for me, I'm most productive in the morning, anytime between, 7 a.m. and 11 a.m., I'm on fire. And so anything that really needs to get done, I schedule it during that time. After lunch into the evening is all downhill for me. So I schedule more like administrative tasks, things I don't need a lot of brain power for. So kind of thinking about your optimal times of work and then scheduling most important things during those times. All right. So Alice actually just graduated. Congratulations. Alice just got her PhD in neuroscience, but she's in Focus. Well, she's welcome to stay in Focus. She said 10 out of 10 would recommend this program. It's super helpful, especially if you're someone who is tempted to open a document and then scroll through Twitter for 25 minutes like me. Having someone else there helps you to stay focused. So she's talking about our co-working sessions. Also, a lot of times we use the Pomodoro method, which is the best if you need to break big projects into chunks. So I love to share this story from Alice. Alice was really having a hard time in grad school at first, and then she was able to turn it around, and then she started motivating all the other grad students, which I love. So this is something that Alice shared in our group. She said, some encouragement for y'all today. This time last year, I found out that I had not passed a class I needed for my program. My GPA was garbage. My mental health was not good, and I was having a lot of issues personally. I really considered dropping out of my graduate program. I even started looking for jobs that I could do with my bachelor's degree. Today, I have a great GPA. I've presented at an international conference. My therapist is proud of my progress, and I finally got my cells to express a virus for an experiment I've been doing for 6+ months. So here's her encouragement. You can do it. Grad school is tough, but you are tougher. Don't let bad classes or failed experiments or rejections stop you from achieving your goals. You can do it, friends. That gets me emotional because I know that Alice graduated. She did it. She got her PhD, which is so awesome. So take Alice's advice. You can do it. Don't give up. You got this. Okay, so here is all what is inside of the Focus program. So it's mostly accountability. I find that people don't typically go through all of the trainings, and that is totally fine. But you do have access to trainings as well. So in module 1, it's the whole focus framework where you'll learn the single most important skill to help you stop wasting time on all the things and getting time back by working on the right things. The easiest way to reset your semester after being stuck in a cycle of procrastination and burnout, you can turn things around. And then the secret to creating daily to-do lists that align with your goals based on your specific stage of academia. All right. In the second module, we have the project management for academics training, which is actually what we do in our monthly planning sessions. But if you can't make it, you can always watch the training. So in that session, we talk about how to identify what to focus on each day so that you don't burn out. We share the secret to structuring your days so that you don't procrastinate, as well as the most effective way to optimize your days so that you use your time efficiently. And then also the truth about time management that perhaps you never learned in school. And then the final thing is your most productive week ever framework. And so here we talk about how to complete assignments before the deadline without feeling overwhelmed and overworked. There's someone in my focus program, John C. She's always saying, when I ask for your win, she's like, oh, I got a 4.0 this semester. I got a 4.0. She is working in the co-working sessions all the time, and she gets all of her assignments done well in advance. I'm like, you are always on top of things. We also talk about the secret to following through on your goals without giving up, and the single most effective way to motivate yourself to get to work, and the easiest way to up-level your productivity. All right, so those are the main core modules, but the bonus is we do the project management framework live. So every month on the last Saturday of each month, we have a live monthly planning session where we go through the project management framework for academics all together. And so it's very workshop style. We are actually writing things out and mapping out our month. And then we also walk through nourishing daily schedule or weekly schedule that we can follow. Actually, daily schedule. So we do that on the last Saturday of every month, which is tomorrow. We're having a planning session tomorrow. We also have an accountability Discord server. So we used to be in a Facebook group, but we have now moved to a Discord server. And we also have a 24/7 co-working space. So basically you can go in and say, who wants to work with me? I'm working from 2 to 5. And other people will be like, yeah, I need to get some work done. I'll join in. So you can post something like this. Does anyone want to join a work session tonight? I can start anytime, but I'll be on from 8 p.m. Eastern onward. I have a progress report due in a couple weeks and need to have some accountability the next few days to really knock it out. Tonight's goals consist of number 1, complete background. Number 2, insert references. Number 3, pick 2 articles to review in the morning because I measure my brain being fried after completing the first 2. Let me know if you're interested in coordinating Friday through Sunday. Hope to hear from someone. And so then people will be in the chat saying, yeah, I want to work. And also, just like the vibe is also awesome. So someone said, hi, all. I just wanted to say thank you to my co-working buddies, past and present, and Toyin for making this group. Thanks to the support of this group, I just submitted my first full master's thesis draft a few days before the deadline. The accountability and company while working really helped me focus, and I'm super grateful. So everybody's in the chat. I'm so proud of you. You've worked your socks off and got it done. Thank you for keeping me accountable too. So yeah, we are always cheering each other on. And then the third bonus is you get an extra training all about time management. So if you do struggle with time management, I created a very quick and easy 30-minute time management training where I teach you 4 practical time management tips that you can immediately add to your weekly schedule. Like literally after watching it, you can implement it like today. All right, so my favorite thing about the Focus program is seeing the students in the program supporting each other and cheering each other on. It just makes my heart smile. So someone shared here, hey everybody, a post to celebrate and thank you all. Yesterday, I defended my PhD thesis and successfully passed my Viva, this person's from England, with minor corrections. I've lost track of when I joined this community of amazing people, but I wanted to thank everyone for their support and help along the way. The co-working session sessions in the accelerator weeks and your most productive week ever group made the thesis writing so far more enjoyable. I came looking for motivation to get the job done, but I've gained some friends along the way. I'll be sticking around as I move into my postdoc role, but I wanted to thank you all and wish you the best of luck with your own studies and work. It's official. I'm a doctor. So by the way, once you join Focus, you're just like in forever. We never kick you out. So you're welcome to stay and join us in our co-working session. All right, so more good news. I've just submitted 3 separate PhD applications. This group helped me get this done with confidence and in a timely way. Thanks for work. They think they're co-working buddies. Thanks for working with me through some of it. Wishing all the others in the group doing applications all the best. I did it with 3 jobs, my master's thesis on the go, and 2 kids I'm single parenting. This was Laura, who I mentioned before. Someone else said, co-working with folks in this group has helped to remind me that I'm not alone in the struggles and in the triumphs, which has been much needed during the quarantine when it's easy to feel alone. It has been a great resource to help stay focused and help ward off the working from home blues. Would highly recommend. Thank you for creating this space. And then finally, it's been an absolute lifesaver during quarantine class from home. I swear I wouldn't have finished my thesis and everything else had it not been for this program. I will swear up and down, it is great. Okay, so let's recap. What is Focus all about? What's all included? So when you join Focus, you get instant access to the 3 training modules on prioritization, structure, and accountability, plus 3 bonuses to help you find focus in your grad school experience. So that is the Focus Framework, the Project Management Framework for academics, your most productive week ever, live monthly planning sessions, the accountability, I forgot to change that. It's now a Discord server, not a Facebook group, and 24/7 co-working space, and then also the time management essentials training. So if I were to separate like all the costs out, it makes everything you get worth well over $600. And then I'm going to throw in one more bonus. So you know me, I created a Grad Boss Notion bundle. So it comes with a Notion template set, also my ebook, #GradBoss, a grad school survival guide, and then my my planner for grad students. So that comes with Focus. I saw this post on Twitter that I just really liked. This person said 3 things I learned were necessary to survive academia. 1 is community. No one person has it all. 2 is structure. Some things must get done. And 3 is support. Help along the way is crucial. And I just like, this is exactly what Focus is. So I had to share that post. So this is what it looks like. So this was back when we were in the Facebook group. We're now in Discord. But basically, if you want to work with someone, just share in the group, hey, I'm getting ready to get started working. I'll be working from this time to this time. And so I think this is Laura said, hi all, I'm working from 9 a.m. Eastern till about 2 to 3 p.m. today. If you like to co-work, just let me know. I'll hop in the Zoom room. And so people will comment, oh, I'll join you. I'll join you. So that is how you get people to work with you in the community. And then I also am in there weekly with you guys to help hold you accountable and like cheer you on. So on Mondays, I share like, what are you working on this week? Give me your top 3 goals for the week, and then everyone will comment. And then I will come back and ask you at the end of the week, did you make progress on these goals? 1 out of 3, 2 out of 3, 3 out of 3. All right. So Focus, I think I said was worth over $600. It's not, it doesn't cost that much. It's only 3 installments of $37, or you could pay all at once, 1 installment of $97, and you get access to the full program forever. We won't kick you out. But as a gift for you, so I do want to reward everyone who participated in the Back to Grad School Challenge and for staying with me for so long today. I promise I'm almost done. So you get 35% off the price of Focus until tonight. So if you do want to join Focus, now is the perfect time to join. So quick action takers will get a 35% off discount until tonight. And then slower action takers, you can always still join Focus, but it'll just be at the full price after tonight. So to get access to the coupon, just go to the website. So there's a QR code here. You're welcome to use your phone, and then, or you can just type into your search bar, theacademicsociety.com/focus, and you'll be able to get the 35% off until tonight. So that takes the price down from $97 to $63. But there's also the 3 installments. Instead of 3 installments of $37, it becomes 3 installments of $24, whatever is the best fit for you. All right, so why would it be so great to join now? Besides getting 35% off, well, we can hang out tomorrow. So our next monthly planning session is tomorrow, Saturday, January 27th at 1 p.m. They usually last about an hour and a half, and we literally plan out the whole month, and we get like organized, choose our priorities, create our schedules, things like that. It's a great time to like get to know everyone in the program as well. And then also, someone won this. I don't know if Carla's here. I think Carla, she posted on today's prompt, but Carla submitted her workbook to me and won the giveaway. So congratulations to Carla P. You will receive an email from me with links to enroll in these programs for free. So you'll get my program, Grad School Prep. You'll get Focus. So hopefully I'll see you at the planning session tomorrow. And you'll get the Grad Boss Notion template pack. So, oh, you're here. Yay. Congratulations, Carla. So I will send you an email as soon as I'm done with this, and you should get access to all of these programs. Awesome. Okay, so I just want to say thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for participating in the Back to Grad School Challenge. You know, you can find me here on YouTube. I have a YouTube playlist that's really helpful called Grad School Prep. So if you are preparing for grad school, that will be helpful for you. And again, here is that coupon code. Well, it's not really a coupon code. Here is like the QR code to get to the link. It's just theacademicsociety.com/focus to participate and get the coupon for 35% off of Focus. And that coupon expires tonight. All right, that is all for today. Did anyone have any final questions? I know I said a lot. Did anyone have any final questions or comments before we go? Let me see if I missed anything. Oh yeah, Scott is using a Google Calendar. That is good. I actually need to sync my calendars. What did you say? I move and reschedule more things than not, but I still get more. Yes, you're also using Google Calendar as well. My school uses Outlook, so it's always, I have Google Calendar and then I have my Outlook calendar, but yeah, you're so welcome. All right, everyone. Well, if there are no questions, that will be it. This is the end of the Back to Grad School Challenge. If you're on my email list, I'll send like a recap email in just a moment. And Carla, I will send you an email with all of those links and everything. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend, and I hope to see you tomorrow if you join Focus. All right, have a great day. Bye.